Hi, welcome back. Listen, this is the professor speaking. At this moment, you will learn something new and interesting.
Have you ever seen someone stubbornly sticking to something that's clearly failing? Maybe a company that refuses to innovate, a government clinging to bad policies, or even a friend who won't leave a toxic relationship. Well, what if I told you there's a name for this? It's called the dead horse theory, and today we are diving deep into why people, businesses, and even entire societies fall into this trap, and how you can avoid it. The dead horse theory is a metaphor for when people keep investing time, money, or effort into something that's clearly not working. No matter how hard you try, a dead horse won't move, but instead of accepting reality, people keep whipping it, hoping it will magically start running again. Now, you might be thinking, why would anyone do this? Why not just move on? Well, there are a few psychological reasons people fall into this trap. The sunk cost fallacy. We've already put so much effort into this, we can't stop now. Fear of change. What if the alternative is worse? Stubbornness and ego. We're not failing, we just need more effort. Emotional attachment. But I love this job, relationship, or company. The dead horse theory isn't just a concept, it's happening all around us. Let's look at some real-life examples where people, companies, and governments refuse to let go of failing ideas. Business and corporate world. Kodak and digital photography. Kodak was a giant in the film photography industry, but refused to embrace digital technology. Instead of pivoting, they kept pushing film cameras while competitors like Canon and Sony moved ahead with digital and thrived. The result? Kodak declared bankruptcy in 2012. Blockbuster versus Netflix. Blockbuster kept focusing on physical video rentals even when streaming services were rising. Blockbuster refused to shift to streaming. They ignored new trends, while Netflix adapted and took over. Nokia's smartphone mistake. Nokia was once the world's leading mobile phone company, but they failed to embrace touchscreen smartphones, thinking their old designs would always work. Meanwhile, Apple and Samsung dominated the market. BlackBerry's decline. BlackBerry insisted on physical keyboards while the world moved to touchscreens. Even after seeing iPhones succeed, they kept producing old designs until their market share collapsed. Yahoo versus Google. Yahoo once ruled the internet, but refused to modernize its search engine. It even had the chance to buy Google for $1 million, but passed on the opportunity. Now, Google dominates, and Yahoo struggles to stay relevant. The fall of MySpace. Once the king of social media, MySpace refused to innovate, while Facebook introduced new features and a better user experience. Today, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok lead, while MySpace is barely relevant. Microsoft's Windows Phone failure. Microsoft tried to compete with iOS and Android, but didn't fully commit to building an ecosystem. Even as it became clear that Windows phones weren't selling, they kept pushing them until they finally abandoned the project in 2017. Government and policies. The US Prohibition era, 1920s to 30s, banning alcohol didn't stop drinking, but it increased crime. Yet, the government continued enforcing the law for years. The Vietnam and Afghanistan wars. In both cases, governments poured billions of dollars into wars that showed little to no progress, but they refused to withdraw for years due to political pressure and the fear of admitting defeat. The Soviet Union's economic policies. The USSR continued using a failing centralized economy, leading to massive inefficiencies and shortages. Even when it became clear that capitalism was outperforming socialism, they stuck to their system until the country collapsed in 1991. Expensive infrastructure projects that go nowhere. Governments worldwide invest billions in projects that face delays, budget overruns, and poor planning, but instead of scrapping them, they pour more money in. The Concorde jet program. Despite being an engineering marvel, the Concorde was too expensive to operate and had limited demand. Yet, it continued for decades before finally being retired in 2003. Education and careers. Outdated teaching methods. Schools still focus on memorization instead of practical skills, even when it's clear that students need hands-on experience for real-world jobs. Traditional college degrees versus skill-based learning. Many students take on huge student loans for degrees that no longer guarantee good jobs. Meanwhile, self-taught coders, digital marketers, and freelancers earn well without a degree. Yet, society still pushes the "college is the only way" narrative, forcing students into unwanted careers. Parents pushing children into medicine, law, or engineering, even when the child has no interest, just because it's a safe option. Clinging to outdated job skills. People refuse to upskill, thinking their old expertise will always be valuable. But with AI, automation, and digital transformation, many old jobs are becoming obsolete. Relationships and personal life. Staying in toxic relationships. Even when it's obvious that a relationship is unhealthy, many people stay due to fear of change, emotional attachment, or the belief that things will get better. Holding on to dead-end jobs. People stay in unfulfilling jobs for years just because they're used to it, even when they could find better opportunities elsewhere. Unsuccessful business ventures. Entrepreneurs who keep investing money into a failing business instead of pivoting to a better idea. Following traditions that no longer make sense. Many cultural or societal practices continue simply because that's how it's always been done, even when they are outdated or harmful. Buying gym memberships without going to the gym. Some people keep renewing their gym memberships every year, convincing themselves they'll start next month, but never actually going. Sticking to old technology instead of upgrading. Some people refuse to upgrade to better tools, whether it's software, cars, or household appliances, even when the old ones slow them down. How to avoid the dead horse trap. So, how can we avoid falling into this trap? Here are a few ways to recognize and break free from the dead horse theory. Recognize the signs early. Be honest about whether something is actually working. Be willing to adapt. Embrace change instead of fearing it. Don't let past efforts dictate your future. Just because you invested time in something doesn't mean you have to keep suffering. Be open to new ideas. Stay informed about better solutions. Know when to quit. Letting go of a lost cause is sometimes the smartest move. So, the next time you find yourself stuck in a bad job, a failing relationship, or an outdated idea, ask yourself, are you just beating a dead horse? If yes, it might be time to move on. Have you ever been in a dead horse situation? Tell us in the comments below.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want to listen to the professor again. Signing off. Take care.